This cute duo are known as the Talking Cherubs from Spirit Halloween 2013. They were displayed in the Haunted Mansion display and resembled an angel cherub and a devil cherub. Quite possibly the cutest non-threatening piece Spirit has ever made. Even though one tries to be, these things are, I'd say, pretty sought after. To the point that Spirit Halloween brought back the devil cherub last year in 2023. Yes, just the devil cherub. Spirit, what were you thinking? You could barely even hear what it had to say, too. Like, these things came out 11 years ago, and they are loud and even have a sound control. The new one didn't even have a box for us collectors to worry about creasing. But anyways, enough of me blabbering. Let's just start the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the Talking Cherubs from Spirit Halloween 2013. Now, I found these guys on Facebook Marketplace locally with an asking price of $150, and looking at the pictures provided, these things were, well, cosmetically shot and also just functionality-wise, very problematic. The angel cherub's face was absolutely destroyed from dry rot. It had to have been sitting in the sun at some point of its life. The devil cherub, on the other hand, was not as bad, but it did have a bunch of rips and tears in the latex. Now, what was very reassuring is that the latex wasn't actually like solid. It was still soft and being able to be moved around and stuff. So I was able to actually repair it with a very simple technique of just adding new latex to it, basically just airbrushing layers of newer latex to fill in those cracks. And I'll show you here how it turned out soon enough. For one of the cherubs, the gears were cracked. Now, here's one gear right here. This is the original gear, and it's very annoying because it's got like this clutch piece on here. There'd be another gear that's on the bottom here where if this one gets caught, if one of the gears get caught, the other one will continue to spin and it like jumps the gear. So this one was actually cracked. You can kind of see it right there. There's a little crack in the tooth. And what I and my friend Dr. Cocter did was we made a new gear. Now, it's not perfect, but it actually gets the job done. And it has the very minimal teeth on the bottom here. The 3D printer is only able to print to such a fine detail, so it's not perfect, but it actually does like do what it's supposed to do, basically. It does get the job done. So that was basically the main concerns there, the gear and then the dry rotting latex. They are basically fixed to the best I could possibly do, but before we take a look at them, let's look at the box here. I'm very happy that the box was included. I was able to get the seller down to a price of only $40 because they claimed that they didn't notice how bad it was originally. So $40 with the box, I think that's a pretty good price for them. But here it is. The box is in pretty good shape. I just had to re-glue some of the flaps. Nothing too crazy there. Here's the back. I like this where it's just the font, no pictures or anything. Very nostalgic looking. Does take a 6-volt 2-amp adapter. Here's the other side. A little worn on the edges, but it's all right. You can also see it's got like the blue outline as well around the cherubs, the little glowing stuff. So now let's see what's inside the box here. First thing I think I'm going to take out is probably the angel cherub. That's the one that had the most work done to it. The face was the only part really dry rotted, which kind of was unfortunate, but because of the fact that why did it have to be the face? But here he is after all the work was done to him. Up close and personal, you can kind of see like where the patches, you can see like this is all supposed to be pretty smooth, but in the night, you'll not really notice it. The biggest thing that you can notice is that the eyes are not as bright as they were originally. I did end up replacing the bulbs on this one for the reason because the LEDs I have were a little brighter to help shine through the paint, because I did have to repaint this. This head is basically a new paint on right here. I took them to Home Depot and got a paint match. I also did the little black wash on the hair. It was very minimal originally, so I really tried to make it the same. On the back here, this one does have a control box and it also has the volume control. This is basically the main box. The Devil Cherub also has a control box, but it's not like this one. This one has a big speaker, has the cable plug, it has the old style foot pad jack, and then the try me button jack as well, and also volume control, which is nice. And it just has a simple on and off switch. There's no try me feature on here, and I'll show you the one problem I have with that. And then here we have the Devil Cherub, the Demon Cherub. This one didn't have too much problems with it. Some holes or rips in the mouth here, right here, you can kind of tell where the patching was done. And up here in the hair area, there's a big gash in the face right there. But all of it was filled in with latex and some caulk, and it actually worked pretty well, stuck well, and just old practices that I've done, it turned out pretty nicely. And then here is the back of the Devil Cherub. It just has a speaker and then an input for that data plug, basically. Something that I thought was pretty cool is that right here, you can see it has the animated cherubs, probably an ID number, and in the corner it says 2013. And the other cherub has it too, which is pretty cool. Just kind of like glued on. It's a different piece to the actual main sculpt here. And this is also, I think it has some material about the foam, I think, on here. Like I said earlier, it runs off of just a normal 6-volt 2-amp adapter. Nothing out of the norm there. And then here is the data connection. This is what basically tells the two when to activate. It is not like an IR receiver and signaler setup, like the head busts, I believe. This is all just wired in together. I guess it's more reliable, even though sometimes it doesn't always work, but for the most times it does. Now before we set them up and demo them, I just want to show you something with repairing these things. One might be concerned, like, how are you supposed to get to the mechanism, because the gearbox for the head turn is not in the head here. You have to actually just take off the head, and it's glued in here. Now this is duct tape. An original model wouldn't have that. I did that because to try and get the spacing out, because the problem with these is I think that over time, especially if yours is one that is in like a dry rot situation, the latex on the bottom here overlaps the stuff that's in the neck area, and sometimes these get like warm and like kind of melt together. And if it's been sitting for a while, that can get stuck, so you might have to like peel this back to free it up. I actually used some lubricant on here. It's a rubber safe lubricant, and that I just rubbed it around the neck area here, and that kind of helps free it up for a little bit. This one has the problem more than the Devil Cherub, which is weird. Just give it a good cleaning. I used some rubbing alcohol. I also dremeled it out to try and get it to be as fine as possible to minimize the amount of friction that is happening when the head turns. And I think it's pretty good. It still clicks sometimes, and I don't know if I'm going to glue it back in or not, but this is just where the gearbox is. So it's just hollow inside actually, which is kind of cool. You can see all the wiring and stuff. So it's not a big deal to really take it out. You just have to slowly like go around and pry off the old glue. Maybe use a hairdryer if you want to soften up the glue. But for me, I think I might just leave them without it glued in, or maybe just dab a little bit in case I have to go back in there and maybe fix the gear to make it better or something. So I unfortunately don't have the original instructions, but good thing it's a pretty simple setup here. All you got to do is just take your data cable here and just plug it into each of the cherubs. Nothing crazy there. There's a tab here that folds back, so you could just put it in, and then if you want to take it off, you just pry that down so it pops off, and then you just plug it in the other one. I added some hot glue to the wires to try and relieve some of the stress that was on it, because the old glue is kind of broken off after 10 or so years. But that is basically all you have to do with these two, and you just need to plug them in now and they will be ready to go. Okay, so they are plugged in, ready to go. They activate off of light, and they have a sound sensor. Here, they both actually have a light sensor, but I have them covered up right now. I'm trying to work on some wireless try me buttons, and the problem that I have with these is that unlike a lot of the modern stuff and even the old stuff, the sensors still activate the prop even if you have it plugged into a try me feature, which is kind of unfortunate. I don't know if that's just mine that have that problem or if they all were like that. So I don't know how I'm going to avoid that. I might just cut the wire for the sound sensor and like make it a plug-in, so if I ever want to put it back, I can. But the sound sensor still works, so let's see if they work.
You've arrived. Wonderful. Now the festivities can begin. Because we cannot have our feast without the main course.
They work pretty well. The mouth movement used to be more on that one. The mouth movement is kind of adequate. I'm not gonna really be nitpicky over it. It is what it is.
Join us. We're having a heavenly time.
Let's see if the head turns on this one. This is the difficult one.
He doesn't really want to torture you forever. Yes, I do.
Okay, that was quiet that time. So they're working pretty well. See again.
Hey, I got one for ya. Knock, knock. Who's there? A witch. A witch who? Oh, which one of mine am I gonna poke out first?
I think they got one more saying.
What are you doing here? This gathering is for living mortals only. They are mortals, and they are living. Not if they stay here, they're not.
They actually work better than I expected them to.
You've arrived.
As I was saying, they were working pretty well. This one kind of hums. I hear like a humming sound when you get closer. Let me see if I can let you guys hear it. I don't know if you can hear that. But it's like humming constantly. I don't know if it's going to start just go up in flames or what. I don't know. Easewall seems to have that trend going for them. But I think that's basically all I have to say about these things. They're just one of those old pieces that are like kind of nostalgic and just captures something that has been lost to time. I think I'm going to leave you guys with just a nice little mic'd up demo of these two in the day and the night and let you guys go on your way. So I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.
You've arrived. Wonderful. Now the festivities can begin. Because we cannot have our feast without the main course. Please join us. We're having a heavenly time. Don't join me for a really hot time. Burning in the flames of eternal damnation. He doesn't really want to torture you forever. Yes, I do. Hey, I got one for ya. Knock, knock. Who's there? A witch. A witch who? Oh, which one of mine am I gonna poke out first? What are you doing here? This gathering is for living mortals only. They are mortals, and they are living. Not if they stay here, they're not. You've arrived. Wonderful. Now the festivities can begin. Because we cannot have our feast without the main course. Please join us. We're having a heavenly time. Don't join me for a really hot time. Burning in the flames of eternal damnation. He doesn't really want to torture you forever. Yes, I do. Hey, I got one for ya. Knock, knock. Who's there? A witch. A witch who? Oh, which one of mine am I gonna poke out first? What are you doing here? This gathering is for living mortals only. They are mortals, and they are living. Not if they stay here, they're not.